Awesome. So let's get into it. All right. This does follow some state standards here. And so here are the state standards. It follows some of them. We don't touch on every single one, but it is in accordance to the Arkansas state standards. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and move on. We're also going to talk a little bit about ISTE educator standards for teachers, and so this goes ahead and pretty much touches slightly on each one of these, but the ones it touches on best are going to be learner, designer, and analyst. So for learner, educators continually improve their practice by learning from and with others, exploring proven and promising practices that leverage technology to improve student learning. All right, for designer, this one probably is the best one. It goes ahead and fits is educators design authentic learner driven activities and environments that recognize and accommodate learner variability. I'm sorry. An analyst. Educators understand that and use data to drive their instruction and support students in achieving their learning goals. Alrighty. So the target students we're going to be talking about is anybody that's seventh grade and above. I would also say that this could be almost for anybody at any level, any age. This is pretty simple and easy to understand, and uh, yeah, this is not something that's a complex target for those that are learning Spanish. My bad. And it's useful to all students. It assists an instructor, and it engages in ISTE and Arkansas state standards. Awesome. So back to assistant instructor. So it does this by making grading simple, and this lesson plan is just meant to be really simple for teachers, and it's really meant to be very effective when it comes to students. So here's our objectives for learning about the different aspects of direct and indirect object pronouns. So we want to read direct and indirect object pronouns, and we'll know their significance. We want to write them. We want in sentences. We want to be able to pronounce these. And of course, we want to understand them in their use and function, not just know that, oh, that goes there or that sounds good. And of course, we want to apply all these things to our daily Spanish. And then the other thing that we want to go ahead and talk about real briefly is other. This also goes ahead and expands upon different ideas in Spanish, different topics, and is useful for the rest of your Spanish career. And then we're going to get into direct object pronouns. So, direct object pronouns, if you can think back to your elementary school days, is in English, and most of you would already know this as well, but this is just a refresher. In English, direct object pronouns are action receivers and replace noun, noun phrase, pronoun. And direct object pronouns are me, us, you, him, her, it, them, whom, and whoever in English. So, an example of this in a sentence is I bought my mother flowers and I bought her flowers. My mother was replaced by her. So, now we're going to get into direct object pronouns in Spanish. So, it functions the same as English. This is the awesome part. And here's a list on the right side of all of them. And they are fewer and considered easier to learn. Absolutely, because this is it. This is all you're getting. Here's the chart. And so you see on the right side right here, you say me, which is me, then nos, which is Dutch, te, which is you, informal, lo and la, which is him, it, or you formally, and her, it, and you formally. And this is them or y'all formally, and them and y'all formally. This is Spain only, and this is also for that you all formally or informally. I'm sorry. This would be like used for a group of friends. This is used for your friend. These are used for any group mixed with older people or people you want to show some respect to, etc. And then, of course, getting back to our list, this topic is pretty intimidating for students because it can be confusing. There are a lot of confusing things about this, but the good thing is the basics stay the same throughout both languages, and hopefully we can connect the dots. Okay, so now we're going to get into indirect object pronouns, which is the opposite of direct object pronouns. So in English, they're going to be to or who, to, to who or for who, pardon, the action of the verb indirectly affects or goes to. So they're going to be made up of pronouns, nouns. Indirect object pronouns are, in English, me, us, you, him, her, it, them, whom, and whomever. And a good example of this is I bought flowers for my mom, and we replace that I bought flowers for her. All right, so indirect object pronouns in Spanish, same function as in English. They're harder to master than direct object pronouns. because the placement is a little bit different and how they're used is slightly different as well. They're the same amount as direct object pronouns. So here in the chart, we can see that as well. And they're the same location as direct object pronouns in those cases as well. So a good example is compro las flores para mi madre, le compro las flores. Uh, so yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that, and the juicy part. And we can finally get to this lesson plan and what tools we're going to use to teach our students and how to make them successful in this area of Spanish. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get back into this real fast, and we're going to go ahead to student struggles real fast. So this is what students struggle with the topic. It's the basic knowledge. They really don't understand what direct and indirect object pronouns are. They don't understand the placement, where to place them, the role of the verb when placing them, the difference between direct and indirect object pronouns, identifying when to use them. They mix the tenses of the pronouns and using the pronouns together. So we're going to get started. This is going to be online work, repetition, lots of repetition, and quite a bit of fun. So let's get to our first thing. So testing our skills. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be going to this Quizlet, and I'm going to go show you where this Quizlet's at. I have a link in it, and so all this Quizlet is has multiple choice. It has fill in the blank, and so this is just going to be. This is not a Quizlet by myself. This is not made by me, but it's a very useful tool when going ahead and doing this. We're going to use this to see where our students are at and then go from there. The next part of this is going to be just going ahead and seeing what our students need after that. And so we're going to get into the lesson. So what we're going to do on studyspanish.com, and the directions are listed right here in the slide, but we're going to actually go ahead and show you what exactly to do. So we're going to go to studyspanish.com, and we're going to go down here to grammar. So the normal page is going to look a little bit different, but we just know to go to grammar right here. And so we're going to go down to unit 4, and then we're going to see how number 41 says direct object pronouns. We're going to click on that. It's going to give you basically all the directions you need. It's going to give you a quick, brief summation of what we're talking about and what the topic is. And then we're going to look at these quizzes, etc. And yeah, we're going to be doing these 3 quizzes, and they offer different things. The next thing we're going to go ahead and get into, of course, is going to be the Study Spanish 123. It's the same exact thing. Just go to the link. It'll have everything on the left side. We just want to read, watch, practice. The video at the bottom. Watch that video at the bottom. It's just a different viewpoint. And then we're going to, how to assess this, we're going to go back to that Quizlet. All levels can use this. It's going to lead to overall success, and it tests their knowledge to see where they've come, how far they've come, and it takes multiple steps and times to go ahead and do this. The strengths and weaknesses is the Quizlet. It is quick testing. How to use it best is really up to the teacher. And what this means for students and teachers is simplicity. The weaknesses are probably that you don't have that face-to-face contact with the teacher when using this. And before I continue, all the results are going to be quickly pasted, copied and pasted, and sent to you of all the quizzes that they have on all these online segments. Some student concerns might be, how do I remember all this? How do I not mix the concepts up? What are some basic functions of SE? All these questions. The third one is going to, of course, be a more complicated topic. We're not even going to go over that. Practice is really what goes ahead and gets to this knowledge, memorizing the basics, and of course, practice again. And so the advice of teachers is, the subject is, of course, one of the more difficult ones for students when beginning. It's just going to take practice, your personal experience with the subject and how much you struggled learning it, testing your own knowledge, finding out the little mistakes you still make with it, because we all do make them, and using technology like this. And hopefully this lesson plan will help increase that, and just use clear instructions so that students don't interpret what those instructions are with this online work. Personal thoughts are my experience. I always rely on that to teach others. Where I'm at, I'm only at 7th grade level Spanish. Probably, I'm still in college. I'm still learning. Just what helps me really is just by doing these little practices, and I still do them even for myself because they have material for me as well. Little things matter, like these practices. I'm going to repeat that again, and just helping you curb your skill. Why I love to do what I do, of course, is reminds me to go to class every day. What reminds me to do this kind of stuff It's just my passion for Spanish and for the language. And of course, enjoy the results.